Yeah, baby, we here. We're doing it again. Another Tuesday, another episode of Rated G with Gary G. Garcia and Brian T. Licata. I am your host, Gary G. Garcia, along with my brother and partner in misinformation, Brian T. Licata. And today we have a very special guest, man. I am so excited to have you on. He is a producer, a writer. He is the writer of the Idiot's Guide to Comedy Writing. Did I get that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also my mentor, man. He teaches classes over at Gotham, right? No, Broadway. Was
There's
it Broadway?
Gotham.
Gotham. Gotham is
Gotham.
where I took the class. This is the teacher who I took my class with. He's coming out here to Atlantic City to do a class out here. It's a 6-week course, man. So anybody interested in doing comedy, if you're near Atlantic City in the New Jersey area, go to acjokes.com and sign up, man, because I'm telling you right now, this man is the man, yo. Everything I've learned when it comes to comedy outside of being on stage, I've learned from this man right here.
Oh well, you know what? You got to want it. That's the whole thing, and that's the one thing I can't teach. I can't teach someone how to want it. And
No
you went
doubt.
out, man, and you found shows. You found shows during the pandemic when other comics were just sitting back crying, "Oh, I'm never getting on stage again." Gary was out there hustling. Like, nope, I'm gonna open up stages. Here we go.
Yeah, we did it. We managed. Like I always say, man, I feel bad saying it, but Corona was really good for me, yo. I hate saying it, but it's the truth.
It gotta be good for
It,
somebody.
if I look at, hey, big up, that's my daughter Jasmine. How are you, Jasmine? My daughter's not
You know.
feeling well right now. She's under the weather, man. She got COVID,
Oh,
Oh,
but she's coming around. She's on the tail end of it. And I hope you're feeling better, Mama. I spoke to her earlier, man.
she's got the Rona.
What happened? Yeah, she got the
She
Rones.
really interesting.
Yeah, I didn't
so
think people
now
got
I
it
feel
anymore.
bad that we went through that whole Corona's been good to you kind of rant.
Well, no, it has. Hey, listen, this is like a 4th or 5th time, man. She's a warrior.
Wow.
She just gets in and gets over it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She's a true testament to the fact that all you got to do is just get better.
I should absolutely not say this, but I have not gotten Corona, and everybody I'm around has had it.
Oh,
Like
really?
I was in an office where everybody in the office had it. I was, my wife had it, was sleeping next to me. My kid had it, and I never got it.
You're like the 3rd person that I heard. Brian got it. How many times? 3 times? Twice?
No, I think I only really got it once. Twice?
No, you got it twice, and then you got vaccination, and then you got it again.
No, I didn't get it.
Yeah, you called us up.
No,
Twice.
Twice I got it. Are you sure?
Dude, are you insane? You got it, and then you went and got the vaccination, and then you got sick again. And we did a live thing, and you said that it was worse than before you had the vaccination. You said the first time wasn't as bad as the second time. How do you forget? You're the one who had it. Are you lying to yourself?
I feel like I only got
now?
it twice.
That's what I just said. Twice. I just say twice, Jim.
Yeah,
Am I bugging out?
I think he just basically lied to you to get some days off back then.
Well, I mean, listen, man. Days off is easy. That's like Tuesday through Sunday.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yo, we did our first free class. Brian still has COVID brain. I agree.
Yeah,
That's probably what it is.
Long term.
Yeah.
That long-term shit, man. But you never got it. You're like the 3rd person who told me that they never got it.
Yeah.
I know 3 people who never got it. I got it once, but I got it before it was popular. It was like bass before it became crack, and then everybody was doing it.
Yeah.
I got it when we had to cook it ourselves.
Oh yeah.
That's when I got it.
Crushing the rock by yourself. I got you.
The good old days.
So, Jim, man, I'm very excited to be having you come out here, man. He also performed on Sunday. Great set, man. It was great to watch you again, too. I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking of posting that set because I recorded it and I watched it a couple of nights ago because I record and watch everything I do. Because I'm that much of a narcissist. And after watching them, they're like, oh, it's pretty good. I'm going to put this one out.
I never watch my stuff.
Why? I believe that.
Because it always sucks. It always takes away the joy. Like, I'll think I had a great set, and then I'll bring it home, and I'll be like, this sucked. And then it always lets me down. Like I've watched my special like maybe 3 times, and now I can't even watch it no more.
You don't think you would get better if you watched it?
Maybe. I mean, he tells me I will. I should listen.
Yeah.
I'm serious, dude. Yeah, I think you're a great comedian, and if you put in like a little bit of that kind of effort into it.
You see, but Gary's got, and this has always amazed me, he's got natural performing ability. Like Gary's a natural performer. I'm not a natural performer. I'm a natural writer. So I got to work at my performance. If I don't watch my tapes, if I just sit and rest on my laurels, I'm going to suck. I got to learn something with every set. Gary, nah, he just pops up there. He's fine. He's got it naturally. I hate people like you. Like if this were high school, I'd be shoving you in a locker right now, dude.
Yo, yeah, it's like those dudes that get A's without studying, right? You like to get B's and A's. I was never that dude.
No,
I'd be happy if I got a D. When I looked at my report card and I saw straight D's, I was like, yes.
I think my parents were happy when I actually showed up in school.
Yeah, that was high school.
Yeah, that was this high school for me too.
Raymond Robles says, yeah, finally caught you live again. What's up, fellas? What's up, Raymond? How are you? Welcome back to the show. Raymond, in case you're wondering, this is when I started doing comedy, I took a class in Gotham, and this is the brother who taught me, man. This is my mentor, man. It's so good to have you on here. It means so much to me, man. Every time I share the stage with you, man, I'm always up there, and I'm always like, I hope Jim likes me. I hope I do well. I hope I represent well.
How did you get into teaching comedy?
It's actually weird, but I got into teaching because Gotham got hosed. And I had written the book, and I'd always written for people. I'd always, I've been a professional comedy writer since I'm a kid. And, so I wrote for Rodney, I wrote for Joan Rivers, I've written for everybody, all the Catskills guys. And then when they asked me to do the book, I did the book because the book had to cover writing for a lot of different genres. There's not a lot of people who've written in multiple genres, but I've had, off-Broadway plays that were produced that were comedies. I've had movies produced that were comedies. I've had written on TV shows. So I hit really all the things. So boom, it won that, the completely disguised people called, asked me to do it, and I was able to do it. And when the book came out, Gotham had another teacher who was teaching their stand-up class at that time. And apparently he had some personal life issues with some drugs and alcohol. And they called me up and they went, we're in the middle of a class and we're a host. Can you take over? And just teach the rest of the semester until we find our guy. And I went in and I taught the rest of that semester. And Chris Mazzilli, who owned the club, came in, sat down and watched and went, yeah, we found our guy. How much do you want to do this on a regular basis? And I did it from, I want to say 2009 straight through till when the pandemic hit. I kept doing it. It was Sunday afternoons and it was fun. And so many of the new guys, came through. Chris DiStefano came through, Gary came through. I mean, so many guys that are just great comics came through the class and it was fun. I mean, I think we, at one point, Lori, you remember Lori Summer, right? And I were keeping the tally. We had like 15 people who came through the class that eventually were on TV, which was kind of unheard of in the years we were doing it. And then when the pandemic hit,
that's a lot. Like, 10 years?
Yeah. When the pandemic hit, they're like, I'm not going in the city. I'm not driving in. I'm not dealing with the crowds, nothing. Right. So I took about 4 or 5 years off. And, periodically people would ask me and go, will you teach again? And they're like, maybe you'll resume, maybe, differently.
Right. Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't do it over Zoom.
I did some private stuff over Zoom and some small stuff over Zoom, but not a lot. And then when Gary asked me, they're like, you know what? Yeah, let's step back into it. It's been a few years, and I'm not afraid that I'm going to kill my daughter by bringing home a virus. So why not try it now? That was the big thing because Gotham wanted to continue. At one point, and they're like, no, not until this is under control. By the time it was under control, I was comfortably lazy at that point. They're like, I can sit home Sundays and watch football, or I can, get in my car, go into the city, deal with parking, deal with the crowds, and, maybe, have fun teaching.
I think that was the hardest part about Corona was everybody got mad lazy. They got used to doing nothing, and it was so hard to get back into it.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, even now, I work every day, and it's still so hard to get into it, to get going.
Yeah, I mean, I had...
And you have all day to do it.
Yeah. I had not watched a football game at the time of a football game for years. And then, starting with Corona and on, I was, what are you doing Sunday? I'm sitting on my couch with my feet up and a cold beverage, and I'm watching the game. That's what I'm doing.
How many movies have you written and produced for?
I've written on about 22 different movies, but the two big ones that are out there, if anybody has Amazon Prime, go and look up Gail's New Boyfriend, which is a really insane kind of cult Rocky Horror type movie that I wrote. Cool. I get calls from colleges saying they have watch parties of it.
Really?
Yeah, it's awesome. About a woman whose boyfriend cheats on her with her sister. She goes absolutely crazy, steals a ventriloquist puppet, and has a torrid sexual affair with the puppet while there's a manhunt going on for it. That is the poster. And that is one. You will either absolutely love it or absolutely hate it. There is that.
Oh, dude.
I already know I'm going to love it. It's got a puppet.
Yeah. And,
any movie I see, I'm surprised I haven't come across this, because any movie I see with a puppet on the screen,
he looks like such a dirtball.
Yeah, that is the entirety of it. And, we're not really sure if the puppet's alive or she's just that crazy. So I've had mental health advocates write me going, "You're making fun of mental illness." And they're like, "It's a movie. Chucky wasn't real either."
Yeah, exactly.
So
what would you say is your favorite, man? What was your favorite to do?
I'd love that one because it was so insane and so, as a comic, you love doing the stupid shit. You just love the absolute ridiculousness of it. I mean, at some point, I'm sitting down with the crew talking about how we're going to film the puppet sex scene, and in the middle of it, I'm realizing, there's a sex scene between a puppet and a woman that I now have to figure out how to film. So that was so much fun.
I always bug out when women have to do those scenes. It's almost like in hip hop music when they have to say the craziest shit in hip hop music.
But it's also the least sexy thing in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's 37 people there. It's shot from a million angles. You're not really seeing anything. So the camera's pointed, and it's like, okay, so can you say that really stupid line for the 56th time in a row? Can you say that stupid line for the 38th time in a row? And it's just, but it's so much fun when the silliness is there. Look, there's one scene where, all right, so I'll give away a scene, but this will be the only one I'll give away. The puppet is sitting down watching porn. And when the puppet ejaculates, it shoots confetti.
Yo.
And we had to figure out how the fuck to shoot that. And we're sitting there, and we figured it out. And I go through everything, and I tell them that what we're going to do, and I tell them that, and they all just looked at me, and they went, "No, people will kill us. People, they're just going to cause a riot." But now I get college campuses calling me and going, so-and-so showed me the movie. We watch it, on Friday nights. There's copious amounts of marijuana when they're having the watch parties.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I've actually been paid to zoom in and talk to people after they've watched it.
Oh, that's cool.
Like director's conversation. It's been ridiculously fun. So that one was probably the most fun.
We had a question from one of our listeners. The name of the movie, it was called Gail's New Boyfriend, and you get on Amazon, right?
Yeah,
right, Jim?
Amazon, Redbox. It's on about 7 or 8 different places now.
Oh, I'm getting it on Redbox. This is what I'm watching this weekend.
Yeah, dude.
This is what I'm watching. It's on Plex. Oh, that's it. Tubi. That's it. It's all over. I'm catching.
It's beautifully low budget and absolutely insane. I mean,
I think Lauren. I see that she just came on too, man. What's going on?
Lauren's here. Hi, Lauren.
Yeah, we got a lot of people that come back. I always got to say what's up, show them love.
That's awesome. And the boxes that come up, you've got the prettiest audience. Like you go on most comics podcasts, it's like 45 middle-aged dudes. You know? Yeah.
We got a couple. Raymond says, wait, Redbox still exists? I'll check it out. Sounds hilarious.
I'm told
it does exist.
Yeah.
It does exist. You started doing comedy at 19 years old.
Yeah.
In the city, in New York City.
Yeah.
So who was like some of your mentors? Who are the comics you looked up to?
Oh man. I started comedy, and you probably know who this guy is, but a lot of people don't remember who he is. I started comedy because as a kid, I fell in love with a comic named Freddie Prinze.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know who Freddie is. And
Freddie Prinze.
I saw him on TV. I always loved comedy, but comedy was always like, the stuff you saw in the Dean Martin roast. It was Foster Brooks. It was, Red Buttons. I never got it. It was that.
Right.
And then I saw this comic, Freddie Prinze, and I think I was like 11 when I saw him, and he was 19. So it wasn't like an old man thing anymore. Now it was like, a guy my age. And he talked about living in a tenement, and I lived in a tenement. He talked about having a crazy super. I had a crazy super. He talked about, being Hungarian, half Hungarian, half Puerto Rican. I was half Greek, half Irish. I'm there like, holy shit. This is like, it sung to me.
Yeah, Freddie was the man.
Yeah.
He was the only Puerto Rican I had to look up to back then.
Oh, man. I stalked him. I found out where his parents lived, and I won thinking Freddie was probably still living there, and his mom was so sweet going, no, he lives in California now. I mean, I went up to the Heights, found the building, the whole 9 yards. I was like, this is what I want to do. I was a kid on a mission. And I convinced, so my dad was off the boat immigrant Greek, very, very cheap. I convinced my dad when Freddie Prinze announced that he was going to do the first ever comedy special on HBO. I told my dad, we need to get HBO. My dad's like, we are not paying for television. It was just too cheap.
That was back in the day, pay for television.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, so, my dad did not want to pay for television either.
I saved up the money, and I said, I've got the money. I will pay for it. All you got to do is let them in. And my dad agreed. And, you're paying for it? Fine. I don't care. So he gets them. We hook it up. He puts it in there. We watch the Freddie Prinze special. My dad understands none of it because my dad, like I said, my dad's off the boat Greek. And then a comic, Elaine Boozler was the comic. Great comic, by the way.
Yeah, I know that is true.
She was on the special, and she said the word shit. So my dad heard a curse on television, and he lost his fucking mind. HBO was out the next day. My dad, I had it in for one day. I watched the special. My dad took it right out.
I think HBO is probably like a big factor in creating a generation of comedians.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because for me, I really caught like the idea of being a comic when I saw Robert Schimmel.
Yeah. Everyone's got that guy they can point to and go, I can do that.
Yeah.
And then when I became a baby comic and started doing it, I was hanging around a lot with, some of the comic strip guys. So I'm hanging out with Wolfberg. There were great comics that you could watch, like Steve Schaefer and Joe Bolster were great guys. Ronnie Shakes was somebody that saw me writing jokes, and not a lot of people know who he is, but dear God, go up and look him up on YouTube. Some of the best Carson appearances of all time were Ronnie Shakes. And, those were the guys that were mentoring me. And then I met Sam Kinison, and then everything changed again. I mean, Sam was brilliant. Sam was very giving. Sam taught me a lot. Oddly, my very Christian mom, Sam was her favorite comic.
Really?
Yeah.
But he used to be a pastor, right?
Well, it wasn't the whole pastor thing. Sam and I would drink at this bar called the Home Bar on 91st and 2nd. And the owners were just enamored with Sam, so they would let him drink all night. But the owners knew that I was drinking with them. And got to remember, I was 20 at the time. I think I had just turned 20 at that time. And the owners looked at me and looked at Sam and said, Jim, you're more the responsible one. Here's the keys. And gave me the keys to their bar so I could lock up after Sam and I were drinking. So we would stay in there till like
the good
5.
Old days.
Yeah. We'd stay until 5 in the morning drinking and doing much amounts of drugs. And then at 5 a.m, I'd lock up, and Sam didn't want to go all the way to where he was staying on the west side. So he'd go, can I sack out on the couch? We'd go back to my house, which I was living with my mom at the time on 78th in York. And we walked all the way back there. He'd crash on the couch. My mom's alarm would go up at 7:45. Sam would pop up like a demented Jack in the Box. Like he had been awake for 10 hours. Mr. Mendrinos, how are you? Let me make you coffee. Do you want breakfast? And just charm the shit out of her. Like my mom, literally, I know my mom loved me, but my mom hated the fact that I was a comic. She just, oh my God, you were supposed to go to college. You're supposed to save this family. You're a fucking court jester. My mom hated the fact that I was a comic. Sam just charmed her immensely. Then one night I'm at the comic strip and I'm on the show and Sam's on the show. And, I see people going in and I see my mom online with a couple of her friends. And I said to my mom, oh my God, came to surprise me. This is great. Let me see if I can get you free tickets. She said, I already have free tickets. I said, how'd you get free tickets? She goes, oh, I came to see Sam. And then I said, did you know I was on the show? And she goes, no, I didn't know you were on the show. I said, okay, so you are like really church going. You tithe. I mean, my mom, there's St. Monica's Church in 79th York. Her name is on the wall twice. She donated that much money over the years.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I think that's crazy. You used to have Sam Kinison sleeping on your couch.
So I'm there like, what Sam's going to talk about, right? My mom goes, I'm sure it's fine. So I go up, and I think because my mom is there, I might have said the word fuck once. Right. I kept it as squeaky clean as I can. Mm-hmm. Sam went up there, and he was talking about necrophilia. He had stuff on homosexuality that was pretty graphic, and by today's standards, not at all PC. Come the end of the show, my mom berated me for being filthy because I said the word fuck. And she goes to Sam, well, it's amazing how different you are on stage than you are off stage. Like, he could do no wrong.
He could do. Yeah, my mom's ain't happy I'm doing comedy.
No.
She always says to me all the time, don't you want to go back to a regular job? And I'm like, you want me to go back to working for other people?
Yeah.
Where I was miserable? You know what I'm saying?
I don't have the personality. Even when I've been writing on TV shows, I don't have the personality to be with other people for long periods of time.
Oddly enough, I do all right in the office setting. A lot of people.
I feel like you'd be so much fun, dude. If you were my coworker, if I like rolled up to a job and I met you on like the second or third day, I'm like, all right, yeah, this is definitely my guy.
I'll tell you this, man. After I left my job, after they let me go, right? I went back there after my second tour that I did. And I finally had my shirts made. I had some merch and shit like that. And I went back and my boss was like, hey, Gary, how's it going, man? You looking to get some work in designing? Because he thought I went back there to have him hook me up, with something. And I said, nah. I said, I'm still designing. I said, only now I design for myself. I got something for you. And I gave him my shirt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's good when you can show up.
But I'll tell you this, when I walked in the office, it was like walking into a monastery. It was like so down and just serious. And everyone, like when they heard I was there, they came running out because there was no joy there after I left. They didn't realize that I brought joy to the company.
I have always been a boss's nightmare. Like, my coworkers will love me, but my bosses will hate me because I'll literally walk up to them and go, you're wrong about that. Oh man, you fucked that up royally. I mean, I've got no filter when it comes to dealing with people in positions of power. So it's like, no, you want the job that makes you the big money, you're going to hear when you fuck up.
Yeah, I'm pretty good at walking that thin line of not taking no shit, but also respecting them for being the boss. But I'm surprised I lasted 20 years there.
Yeah.
I don't know how I did it, but I did. I lasted 20 years and moved up.
So I was writing on a TV show called Thunderbox. This kind of sums up how I am. It's a boxing show, and it's a really great show. It was really great while it lasted, but it was bad. They tried to turn boxing into wrestling. So we had to write storylines because it was real boxing. This is what happens if he wins. This is what happens if he loses. This is what happens if he gets knocked out. We had to write all of them. Then we had to record all the possible storylines before the fight because you can't get a boxer talk about losing after he's lost because he ain't going to go on camera. at that point, you know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then we hired a whole bunch of Playboy models to be the managers of the boxers. So they'd come out, they'd talk shit, and it was cheesecake and violence. It was a great combination. And
that's great. So there's like a lot of stuff that's never been aired because like the dude won the fight. So all the stuff when he lost, it's sort of like when they make the shirts for both teams.
So somewhere in Africa, some people are watching.
I'm about to say somewhere in Africa, there's a person watching the whole opposite side of the whole thing.
So
that's fucking great.
We switched production companies because our first producer, Brad, just quit. Just Brad was tired of it. He quit. They hired a new producer, and that new producer fired everyone, but the money people wouldn't let him fire me. Because I was the guy who was doing the show running, so I kept everything running good. So we're out in Vegas, we're doing this, we're shooting the stuff, and I get a call from money people. We got your ticket on the red-eye flight to New York tonight. We need to talk to you. And I get on the flight. I go back to New York that night, and they said, I go to the meeting next morning and go, what's happening out there? All of a sudden, the production's running slow and we're over budget. And I'm there like, well, the new producers just playing grab ass with all the Playboy models. So they disappear for hours on end, and I can't find them to shoot it. If they're not there, I can't shoot it if the people aren't there. So they then gave me the power to throw anybody, including that guy who was technically my boss, off set. And they sent the memo. And the producer came up to me and goes, I don't know who you think you are, but if you do that even one time, I will make your life miserable. It wasn't even 10 minutes later when I had him physically removed from the set.
Yeah, I kind of would have had to at that point.
It's just that
at that point you got
to whipping dicks out. I'm gonna win. I don't care what I got to do. I'm gonna win. And so that has always been. I will abuse every ounce of power I have. And the odd thing is, when they kind of bring me in, I'm always brought in as a specialist. I'm brought in when people are going, we need more jokes per script, so bring Jim in because he can punch it up. So they'll bring me in and I'll just punch it up, and then you can't fire me because the way my contract is. So I don't need to be nice to you.
And it's funny because I know that's what you do. You help to punch up jokes a lot. Because like I said, when I read the book about the comic strip, a bunch of the comics brought up your name, man. I was like sitting there kind of like proud, like, I was taught by the real deal, because I'm sitting there reading all these interviews of different comics, and they all keep bringing up Jim Mendrinos.
You know why I do that, Gary? Because also people did it for me. When I first started, I was a decent writer. I wasn't bad, but nowhere near the skill level I have now. And then Barry, who nobody knows who he is, but he was one of the he won an Emmy for In Living Color. You know Barry?
Well, I know who he is. I know
Gary.
But Barry won Emmys for In Living Color. He won Emmys for Sanford and Son. He's also a comedian. One day I came on stage and he goes, "How do you write jokes?" And I'm showing him how I write jokes. And he goes, "Why don't you try this?" And he showed me another way. And I had similar conversations with Dennis Wolfberg. I had Joe Bolster. And they weren't doing it to, belittle me. I was 19 and 20-year-old kid. They're like, oh, this kid's got a little talent. He needs a little help. Here you go. Richard Morris, who was at that point a big writer on the Letterman show, saw me and went, okay, let's show you how to increase it. And everyone kept coming to it. Right down to I worked Charlie Goodnights in North Carolina with Bill Hicks when Bill Hicks was Bill Hicks. And, first night, you work with Hicks, I'm in the feature spot. I show off and I do what my best shit is, and I'm just getting roars. You know what I mean? Because Gary knows there are times you go up there, you want to impress somebody, so you peacock a little bit. You do all your best shit.
And I literally peacock sometimes.
Yeah.
I love that joke. That's a great joke.
Yeah. But you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And so that's what I did. And I get off stage, and I mean, to say I crushed was an understatement. It was my intention. It's what I did. And then he went up and he had a set, and he had a fine set. But if you go by laughs per minute, I got more laughs. He was a better comic, clearly. But that night he had nothing to prove, and I had everything to prove. Cut to, it's 2 a.m. We're sitting on the couch, eating cereal, watching cartoons. And this man turns to me and goes, "Do you want to know what you did wrong tonight?" And it wasn't said in a malicious way. It's just said like, hey, if you want help, I can help you. You know,
right.
And my 21-year-old ego needed to sit the fuck down and go, yeah, tell me what I did wrong, because I respect what you do. So, you know, I've always been able to absorb the knowledge. So for me to turn around and help people with it is actually kind of fun. And when you see somebody get it, like when I told you, Gary, you know, you could do some smarter stuff if you wanted to. And then
First thing you said to me.
Yeah.
First thing you said to me. You said, dude, I'm looking at you. You're naturally funny. The stuff you said was funny. You could do this till the cows come home. But
Yeah.
he challenged me to go deeper. And I never turned around. Like you see, I very rarely do like dirty jokes. I stay away from I don't stay away from dick jokes, but if I'm gonna do dick jokes, I do it in a way that seems a little different than everybody else.
I'm sorry, but Richard Pryor was a genius. That man had more dick jokes than any other human being on the planet. All right, it's not mutually exclusive. It's the quality of the joke. It's not the subject matter that defines what's good or bad about it. But when I saw Gary get it, you know, and tell him smarten up, use your brain, and he comes up and does it, and then all of a sudden he's surprising the shit out of the audience. I still remember when I post-COVID came down to AC, did a set with you over at the Trop, and you had this joke about taking the loan, and they give you 35 years to repay it, and you're there like, yeah, like I got 35 years.
Yeah, I said I'm 50.
Yeah,
that was the joke. I said it's a 30-year loan. I'm 50. These motherfuckers think I'm gonna live to be 80.
And you know, just hearing that, they're like, yeah, use every fucking tool. You know what I mean? And he did. And I love seeing when comics get it.
How do you feel when they don't? Like if you give advice to a comic out of your heart because you see something that you're like, I'm going to tell this comedian this because I see something in him,
right?
And I feel he should hear this, and then they kind of don't receive it. How does that make you feel?
Well, I always ask before I give them advice.
Oh, do you mind?
If you're in a class, then you pay for the class. I'm not going to shut my mouth. You know,
exactly.
Right? That's the point. Yeah, it's the point.
Yeah, you get it.
I meant outside of class.
Yeah, but when I'm working with a comic, if I see something that's really good, I'm like, hey, I watched it. I got some thoughts on it. Do you want to hear it? You know, and sometimes they say yes, sometimes they say no. And I always ask the way just out of respect, because I don't know who likes what I do, who respects what I do enough to go, this guy has something to tell me. Yeah. You know, and you know, here's what's really weird though. I have had that conversation with stars, with superstars. I remember being 20 years old, 21 years old, and walking up to Larry Miller after watching his set going, I have a couple ideas for tags to your jokes. Do you want to hear them? It's Larry fucking Miller, you know, the guy who could write rings around me. And he's there like, yeah, absolutely. And him scrambling to find a pen and a piece of paper so he could write it down because it's pre-cell phone days. You know, and then there's some guy that's doing it for an hour, you know, especially now, you know, when they see me, you know, because Gary will tell you, comics have gotten younger the last few years. So I'll walk into a club and there'll be nobody I know on the show. Right. And I'll see a comic come off stage and I'll go, I have a couple of thoughts if you want them, and they haven't seen me on stage yet. It's they're like, yeah, old man, I'm good. I don't need it. You know, then they see me on stage and then they come up to me afterwards going, do you remember what you were going to tell me? You know, it's always been one of those situations.
Yeah, because I could be wrong, but I found that the people who usually want to give advice is usually coming from a comic that I honestly don't respect as a comedian.
Yeah.
And then they want to give me advice, and I'm like,
maybe not. Yeah, maybe not.
I've learned not to really give out advice. And I always tell people, look, like I do it like you say, look, I saw your set. I think you're good.
Yeah.
You know, I go, I don't give out advice. I don't, but I do have something to say if you want to hear it. I'll say something like that. But I very rarely give out advice. I'm that dude after a show. If I see someone bomb and it's not my friend, if it's my friend, I laugh in their face. Like I've seen him do comedy twice. The first time he did comedy, you know, they were like really nice to him. Yeah. And then the second time he went up, he ate a dick. So of course I come jumping out of the comics booth and I'm like, how's it feel to eat a dick? You know what I'm saying? But like, if I don't know you, I'm not one of them dudes to be like, good set. Like they do that. I just kind of let you walk right by. Right. Yeah. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah. You know? If you could almost always tell when I don't like what you did because I'll ask you how the audience is. I won't ask you anything about what you do. I'll ask you how the audience is.
Yeah, there you go. There's always those subtle ways of doing it.
Yeah.
Now I know yours, dog. So now I know if I ever do a set and he's like, how's the audience? I'll be like, go fuck yourself, Jim.
And now you know I'm going to do it to you just to fucking torture you.
Yeah, just to mess with your head. That's great.
That you just popped up there, Brian? Themore, what's up, Themore? Welcome back. Did Jim see Brian's recent performance and any tips? Oh,
I did not.
Brian went on Kill Tony.
Okay.
And he calls me up and he says, I think I'm going to throw my name in the bucket at Kill Tony. Right. And I go, dude, I just want to let you know, if you put your name in that bucket, you're going to get called. They're going to pick your name out of that shit. Yeah. And he goes and he tells me what he's going to say and he goes through it. And I go, it's got legs.
Yeah.
He didn't understand what that meant, I guess. I guess he took that as it was funny because he went up and did it as it was. And I was like, dude, I said it has legs. Meaning I see the potential in the joke, but you still have to work it out. Yo, Tony was so mean to him. Have you ever met Tony Hinchcliffe?
Yeah, that's not an easy show to do. Like veteran comics won't do that show.
Well, exactly. I wouldn't consider myself to be a veteran at all, although I would consider myself to be a professional comedian now.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider myself to be a veteran in the game. But I wouldn't do that show. I don't feel like it sets me up to be successful. I don't think it really sets a lot of people up to be successful unless you got like one-liners.
You also need to understand what you do and what you like doing. You know, I can't tell you how many times people will call me up and say, come do this roast show. And I'm like, no.
Yeah, not your thing, not your style.
Well, here's the whole thing. I will get deliberately mean. Like, early on in my career, I was on a roast and Patrice O'Neal was on the roast. And after the roast, Patrice O'Neal said, you can't do any wrong roast with me because you're too fucking mean.
Really?
Patrice said you're mean.
Patrice said I was mean. Because here's the whole thing. I'm just going to go right for the jugular. It's
right. Yeah. Go as deep as you can go.
Well, Gary grew up in New York City too, so he probably had a similar upbringing. Someone throws a punch, you make sure they can't throw another punch. And I've always viewed roast the same way. Like, okay, you talk about my weight. I know you're coming for it. And now I'm going to talk about your arrest records. And now I'm gonna talk about your last girlfriend who broke your heart because she fucked another comic. And I go there.
I'm not big on roast, man. Oh. I always say no, but I have done 2. It was because I did them for friends. I'll do a roast for my friend if my friend.
Who did you do them for?
For Terry. Well, one was my friend, and one was a snake in the grass. Who I thought was a friend. The other one was Matt.
Okay.
Matt the Hack. Matt the Hack Bridgestone. That's his new name for me now. Matt the Hack. Yo, anyone who knows me knows I don't talk shit about any comedians, man, but Matt deserves it. So I talk a lot of crap about him. Any chance I get, I just like to throw out a little swing on him. Any chance I get, it brings me joy.
That's funny. It brings me joy to shit all over another human being.
Yeah. Well, if it's Matt, he deserves it. I wanted to ask you a question because we spoke about this. Me and Brian have been talking about this, man. How do you feel now with like the fact with clips, like comedians putting up their clips and like a lot of because I was saying to Brian how I felt like a lot of these clips are usually crowd work.
Yeah.
They very rarely put up like the actual material. Sometimes they do, but for the most part, it's usually crowd work. And I feel like it's made people think that that's what comedy is. You come to a show and you just start yelling out at the comic, hoping that, he's gonna address you and you might make a clip. I don't think it's helped comedy, actually.
I don't think it's helped comedy, but I think it's helped those comedians because let's be honest, we all need to embrace social media this is social media. Yeah. We're all embracing it just to make sure that we're building our audience.
Yeah.
And so those comics realize they need to put product out there. But let's be really honest. You see the comics that are releasing those clips, they don't have enough material to put out there and burn that material because once the audience sees it,
that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Carlos
I also found that
you can't do on TV. couldn't do it again for another 10 concerts. You know,
but see, with Gary, I feel like he has the benefit because I'll see him a couple times a few months apart. It's not even close to the same show.
Yeah, but again, once you put it online, if it's close enough, that kind of burns that material for the audience that comes to see you. So if I put material out there and the audience comes to see me and they see the material that they saw online, then I'm going to get them one time. If the audience sees that material and comes to see me and sees a whole different show, then their assumption is I'm always giving them something new, and I have an audience for life, and I have an audience that follows me around and buys tickets to future events. So releasing that crowd work stuff, that material is never going to be seen again. Those circumstances are never going to happen again. It's smart marketing. It's absolutely smart marketing because you bring the audience back every time. You know, it makes the audience think you're more prolific than you are. So I don't, you know, chide comics for doing it. Do I think it's detrimental to what we do in the industry? Yeah. I think that's going to make live performances. It's going to impact live performances the same way cable TV impacted live performances in the late 80s, early 90s.
In what way?
Well, in the late 80s and early 90s, when you turned on TV, when you went to a club, you were paying, you know, $75 per person, $150 per couple to come out and see 3 comics on a show. So you may see Bob Nelson do his best 45 minutes and then 2 no-name guys before him. I could stay home on that same Saturday night, you know, and watch Caroline's Comedy Hour or Evening at the Improv. 6 of the best comics in the world do 10 minutes each, and it's their best 10 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I haven't paid shit for it. So, you know, when I go back to the clubs, I feel like, man, this isn't as good an experience as what I was seeing on TV. So we had a dip in the mid-90s where people didn't want to come out and pay for live comedy because, holy shit, you know, it's better on TV. And then we started having less on TV, and then people started paying again. And
and now there's more, more on TV, basically.
Well, not even the TV stuff, because the TV, at least, we've stopped doing those shows where there's 7 comics a week for 20 weeks, you know. And we've gone to the specials format again, which is what HBO was when we started. So now you got to have Netflix. You're going to see somebody do a half hour or an hour, and still a little more special. You know, but what's going to kill it is the fact that I don't know about you guys, but if I scroll through TikTok for 20 minutes, I'm seeing 7, 8, 10 stand-ups posting clips.
Ton. A ton.
Yeah, and that's what's going to wind up being detrimental to us in the long run.
The bad ones, at least.
Yeah.
You know, what's crazy is, like you said, it does good for the comic because it gets them known.
Yeah.
But I've also noticed that when I watch, I mean, I want to say a name, but I don't like to call people out. But like, you know, what's his name? Steve Reif? Is that his name?
Matt Rife.
Matt Rife. I saw him, you know, on TikTok doing all the, you know, crowd work, and I was like, yo, this dude is really good. And then I saw a special, and I realized that he didn't have the material to back up. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, when I saw him doing material, it was a totally different comedian. It's different when you catch him for a 20-second clip.
But I'm also going to
sit there for 45 minutes, and the material to me just wasn't, you know, strong. But I mean, that's just my opinion. There's a lot of people that would say the same thing about me.
But we also got to remember, comedy is also very much of a demographic. It always has been very much of a demographic. And you and I have a demographic. You and I have a similar demographic. You know, we're basically going to be educated audience, urban audiences, maybe a little bit older, because we're talking about some stuff we grew up with that they're going to, you know, relate to. We're talking about cars and driving and housing and all of these things that they get. Whereas Matt Rife's going to come out and talk about picking up chicks and going to parties. And so
he's a young dude. He's a younger dude. Yeah, no doubt.
So the 25-year-olds that are watching him are thinking
it resonates. Yeah,
he's God, and that you and I are disconnected. You and I are talking about old people shit.
And I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking him, man. I never knock another man's hustle. I hope he stays successful. But I just felt like sometimes you can get that success. I mean, it happens a lot even on the Kill Tony. You get these people that they're coming up doing 1 minute. They're crushing those 1 minutes. They get a quick name because, you know, Kill Tony has a big following.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and then they push them out there, I feel, before they're ready.
Yeah.
You know, And that could just be me being a dick because I kind of went through it the old way, which was doing free shows, and working my way up, doing 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 10 minutes. What did Raymond have to say right there? Raymond says, I prefer seeing comedy in person over sitting on the couch and watching comics online. The experience is way different. Yeah. It's a live vibe and draws away from electronics, and you can feel the jokes and way better. Sometimes it's fun to even feel the crowd, whether the person is killing it or not. And yeah, man. You could have fun in a crowd where a comic's eating a dick.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you. Have I ever stalked a meter maid?
That's what Timur wants to know.
Not that I remember, but have I ever stalked a woman? Maybe. Let's not go there. Have I ever stalked a woman? Yeah,
what's funny is what I consider to be stalking, if we do it, is no longer stalking now that women are doing that shit.
I know.
I've had a few stalkers, man. I've had to ban a couple of them from.
Yeah,
the
you've
show,
actually,
man.
Dude, you've had several.
Yeah,
you're like Kramer with that. You got the Kavorka.
I don't know but they're always like much older. Not that there's anything
not
wrong
always,
with that.
Right? Not always.
Well, the young ones are lunatics.
Yeah,
the young ones are straight up lunatics.
The old ones aren't.
Yeah, if I have a 25-year-old
fast.
approaching me, she has issues. There's no 25-year-old that's approaching me that actually is of a sane mind.
Well, you never know, man. You never know.
If she's coming up to talk to me and flirting with me, then
dudes.
It's like, you hate your dad, don't you? How much do you hate your dad at this moment? Do you even know my name, or am I just revenge?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. We can be honest. We can talk honestly about this. It's not going to change the outcome.
And it's funny too, because people always think that I'm I get chicks, or even when I did music, you had a lot of what do they call them?
Groupies.
Like I said, I don't even know what to call them because I never had one. I'm that dude that my man will be kicking it with a chick, and the chick will, they'll leave me with the other chick, and we'll start talking, and the next thing you know, she's sharing her whole life and all her problems and all her doubts. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is about me, but it winds up that they're just sharing all these things, and I'm sitting there having these deep intellectual conversations. I should charge them because I'm actually being a freaking fucking shrink
therapist.
For them. Yeah, I'm like a therapist. I have a therapist thing to me. I don't know what it is.
I opened for a rock band on tour, and they would always grab groupies and bring them on the bus with them, and every once in a while they'd go, "Oh God, we got to talk her. We got to talk."
Jim.
Yeah,
get over here. We got to talk her.
Yeah, she just wants to talk. She doesn't want to do what groupies do.
What's it?
Yeah.
What's it like opening for a freaking band, yo? What's that like, opening for music?
It depends on the experience. I've done festivals. Like I performed in front of all different kinds of bands. I get hired a lot because I have a lot of material about jazz. So I get hired a lot to do jazz festivals, and those are great. I mean, those are, patient listening audiences that get every reference. And, I'm talking about, jazz radio and how they're telling you every detail of the recording session, and they're eating it up, and it's beautiful. And then I've opened for punk bands, and that has been awful. I'll give you the gamut, the best and worst experience.
That's what I would think. I would think opening for a punk band is horrible.
Opening for punk bands is just awful.
I would think it is.
Yeah.
I would think it is, man. Nobody there. They all want to fucking bang into each other and
So CBGB's had a bastard cousin in New York in the 80s, a place called the Dive Bar.
Yeah, I know the Dive Bar.
Yeah.
I played the Dive Bar when I was doing music.
So so you know what it was like, and that screen that was in front. It was awful. It was just awful. And there was a band, and I'm trying to remember the name of the band, but it was like Black Fist. It was just some awful name, and it was 4 guys screaming and playing instruments poorly, but they had tons of people that would follow them.
I forgot they had that screen in the front. That was because people would throw shit, right?
Yeah.
That's right. I remember that because I remember when I played there. It reminded me of the Blues Brothers.
Yeah,
when the Blues Brothers played in that country place and they had the fencing in front of them because people were throwing bottles at them.
So they brought me in there to open for that band, and I literally did 2 minutes.
That's
and
nuts.
Just the broken glass that was flying up there because they would break the glass before they threw it, hoping it would get through the holes in the fence.
Jesus.
I mean, and I'm there thinking, do I need the $50 this much?
Yeah, exactly.
But I opened for the worst one was I get booked down to do University of Texas. I believe it was University of Texas, San Antonio, homecoming weekend, big football game. And they're going to have a band at the stadium the night before. And so they hire me to open for the band. And I get down there and I'm opening for Oingo Boingo. I don't know if you guys remember
Oingo Boingo. I remember them.
So I'm opening for Oingo
Boingo.
You don't remember Oingo Boingo? No. Oingo Boingo? I can't even say it quick.
So I fly all the way down there. They pick me up in a limo. They drive me to the hotel. I say, what time's the show? They say, you hit the stage 8:00. And I'm like, yes, this is going to be great. And I get into my room and I turn on the TV and it says, tonight, homecoming band, Oingo Boingo, show starts at 9:00. And I'm there like, wow, that's odd. Why does it say the show starts at 9:00? When I go on at 8:00, I get down there, I do my sound check. If you've ever been in a stadium, don't even bother with the sound check. You're going to sound like shit. It doesn't matter. And I get up there and they let the doors open at 8. So they put me on stage. They opened the door. And then I was performing while 118,000 people found their seats.
Yeah, insanity.
Yeah, I've never tossed more volleyballs and beach balls back at audience members as I did that show.
I don't understand why they just turn some music on or something.
Yeah, that's insane.
And here's the whole thing. This is back when I was probably at the height of my popularity. So I was making gobs of money for that hour. I was like, why would you pay me this much money when nobody is fucking listening to me?
It's funny. My most paid shows have always been shit shows.
And then the other side of it.
Hey, like the shows that I've made the most, which I haven't really hit crazy numbers, but like the shows, I get $1,000 or $600 for a show. It's a shit show.
Always.
The person putting on the show doesn't give a fuck about comedy at all. Like, I don't know why you brought me here and you're paying me good money.
They just need somebody to stand there.
You are a warm body at that point. But when it's good, it's unbelievable. I get a friend of mine was the opening act for Tom Jones for a lot of years, and he was down in Atlantic City. This is back in, I want to say maybe 1990-ish, and I get a phone call from his manager going, "Hey, Pete's sick. And Tom's in Atlantic City and they need something open. Pete recommended you. Tom wants to know if there was a limo in front of your house in a few minutes, if you could just pop in and go there and open for Tom." And I said, yeah, but I know I talk to Pete all the time. I don't have a tux. And he said, don't worry about it. Just pack a bag, be in front of your house in 10 minutes. I literally packed a bag, walked downstairs, and the limo was waiting. I get in the limo. It drives all the way to Atlantic City. I check into my room. It was VIP check-in. Literally, we walked out of the limo. Somebody greeted me, took me up to a room, handed me the key. There was a fruit basket on the table saying, your tailor's coming in 2 minutes, but after seeing your tailor, Mr. Jones would like to see you, and gave me the room number. And I sat. A tailor measured me, did all the measurements. A shoe guy came in, took
the tailor earned his money that day.
Oh, yeah. Then they took me upstairs. I met Tom Jones for all 2 minutes. Thank you so much for filling in. I appreciate it. If there's anything we could do, just let this guy know, the guy that's in charge of you for the night. I go back to my room. Literally, I may have spent 20 minutes going up and down stairs. By the time I came back in, my clothes were waiting for me to try on to make sure they fit.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, and they fit. and I go downstairs, and the intro is everything when you're the opening act for a band. And you know, I opened for a few bands in the past, and they're like, all right, you know, are you ready to rock and roll? But before then, Jim Mendrinos, and you're gonna die. There's no way.
Yeah.
Because you just got them pumped up for rock and roll, and then they're bringing comedy.
So all the audience comes in, and Tom Jones' audience is insanely loyal to Tom. And, you know, the lights dim, crowd gets quiet. They want to see Tom. And Tom goes on the mic and says, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming out to my show. Are you here to have a good time? Audience loses their mind. He goes, I'm going to come out in just a few minutes. While I'm finishing getting ready, I wanted you guys to see this next performer. He's my favorite comedian. I love him. I know you're going to love him. Yeah. So please make him feel welcome. Jim Mendrinos. And he says my name. And I went out there. I could have literally murdered somebody in front of this audience. And they'd be like, it's Tom's favorite comedian. We love it. I could do no wrong.
You could have kicked babies off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I literally could have shouted Nazi propaganda. And they'd be going, I guess we just don't understand this. You know, but I mean, I could do no wrong. It had zero to do with me. Zero to do with me.
And everything to do with Tom. Said, is Tom still alive?
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. He still performs, doesn't he?
And the most fun I had opening with somebody is I toured with Willie Nelson.
Shit.
And I got to smoke with Willie Nelson. And that is the most fun you can ever have.
Yeah, I'm sure
I can only imagine.
Like if I could just
that's a bucket list thing for me, man. To smoke a blunt with freaking Willie Nelson.
Like
we had Tommy Chong on the podcast. That was pretty.
Yeah, but we didn't. I didn't get to like
I know. Yeah, we weren't hanging, but like, dude, that was still. That
was epic. Yeah,
Tommy would be in the Mount Rushmore people I want to smoke a blunt with. Tommy would be up there. Like I know I want to smoke one with Snoop Dogg now. That's the next one. I need to smoke a joint with Snoop Dogg.
I can't say this. I was smoking blunts while we were hanging with him.
There you go.
It's not the same, but that's when I was in the old apartment. I was smoking blunts during the whole fucking episode.
That's true. You were, weren't you?
Yeah. So I could say I smoked blunts while I was hanging out with him.
Yeah. It's
probably better. You know, we didn't have to change. We didn't have to trade lip fluid.
You know what, though? But still would.
Yeah. Still would. I would love to sit down and actually pass him the blunt.
Yeah.
That would be great. You smoked with Willie fucking Nelson, man.
And I will tell you, I have never been that high in my life.
I was just about to ask, was it his weed or yours? But obviously it was his.
in his tour bus, so like a little confined. Do you remember that scene in Cheech and Chong? I think it was the movie Up in Smoke, where they opened the door and it was just a mountain of smoke that came out. Yeah. Literally, that's what Willie's bus was. Everyone referred to it as you going in the hot box.
Yeah, the hot box.
Yeah, because that's what it was. It was a hot box.
Yeah, that's how it used to be when I did music too. People was always like, "Oh, you had mad groupies." I was like, "No, we had mad people smoking weed in the back. That's what we had."
Yeah.
It was just, I brought my father back there. He got high because he got hotboxed. He hotboxed my pops. Yeah, he came out. Awesome. He came out. He's like, "I don't know how you even do this on purpose."
Yeah, I used to watch Sam Kinison get laid all the time. Like I saw one night literally where one woman was walking out and another one was walking in, and nobody cared. I mean, it was just the 80s were a special kind of debauchery.
Themore says this guy's been having fun all his life.
Hell yes. Have I ever slept? No, I have slapped a booker. I have not slapped a comedian. Yeah. I had a booker try not to pay me, and I literally hit him.
Oh, Brian, you'll get a kick out of this. I could say this because I know no one out here listens to what I'm doing anyway. So that's on them if they don't listen. Because everything I say. But Jim's doing the free class last weekend, right? Because he did a free class before before the actual class. And Brian, he asked if anybody has questions. And he starts talking. Jim is saying how, the best writers write personal. They write something that they feel strongly about that is personal to them. And then Brian goes, "Oh, yeah, so they can't steal it." And then Jim goes, "No, they'll still steal it."
You hit a comic. But here's what I think. If you steal my material, you're not a comic.
Exactly.
So I stand by I haven't hit a comic. I've hit a hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have punched people that have stolen material from me, but that's not a comic.
Yeah, but that's not a comic. Exactly.
You can hit a hack. You can't hit a
Well,
comedian.
it's funny because he's stolen material from me that was very personal, like stories of my life, and he's gone and tried to steal them, which again, I didn't hit him because nowadays, everybody's filming everything. But I did tell him not to do the joke anymore.
I don't care. Yeah.
But what's so funny is the next day, Zach is walking by and he's talking to somebody selling tickets, and he says, the first thing I ever learned in comedy is you got to write personal things. You got to keep it real personal, and it has to be something you actually believe in. And it's funny because Zach was like, that's the first thing he learned in comedy. I go, yeah, if that's true, then that's very sad because he's been doing comedy for 3 years.
Yeah.
So you've been doing comedy for 3 years, and the first thing you ever learned was this weekend. Then you're not paying attention.
Oh God, yeah.
Then you're not paying attention.
Oh.
I sit there and go, what the hell's wrong with these dudes, man? I feel like I got more out of that class. I was sitting there, dude. I was like, still learning.
But
learning. I was excited, man. Like even just hearing him. You have a way of teaching, man, that is so incredible to me. Because he goes from the performance on the stage, and he also goes deep into the actual material. But I've never heard you tell anybody what to say, what to write, not to say something. It's always a way of trying to bring out the best of that person. If that's what you're going to say,
let's say it better.
Then maybe you should say that this way better. Yeah.
Let's find the best way to do it. Well, because here's the whole thing. Look, you guys know who Gallagher is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Smash Brothers. I don't know if you've ever met him. He loves doing that. This man just giggles and has the best time as he's doing it. And I've sat down with him, and he's sitting and watch him do it, and it's like it's pure joy. It is pure joy when he does it. And who am I to tell somebody that, I don't think your material is good, you shouldn't do that. If it brings you pure joy. What I'm very much against are people who are doing things because they think the crowd will love it.
Right.
And they hate it.
It's the worst. It's the worst. And you can always tell too, as even before I got into comedy and the way I'm in it now, you could tell watching people like, yeah, this is not, there's no substance to it. It's like listening to radio hits.
Yeah.
Brian also produces a show with Dom Herrera.
Podcast. Dom's somebody you can learn a lot from. I mean, when you watch Dom Herrera and just, I love watching somebody who's a master at an aspect of performance. When you watch the way Dom Herrera uses inflection and the way he speaks and the odd words that he chooses to emphasize in a punchline, is this the way we speak? And just watching him do that and watching the way the audience reacts to it and seeing him create a rhythm to things. You're sitting there, you're going, okay, so that is beyond my pay grade. That is somebody that understands their instrument with a precision that not a lot of people do. It's literally like watching an Eddie Van Halen play guitar. It's literally like watching somebody that knows their instrument that well. And
man, that's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get to that level, man. I'm trying to get to that level.
Me too. And if I get there, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna turn into a ball of light and float up to the mothership because I don't think that's of this world.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to that level, man. I'm so comfortable on stage, but I'm trying to get to that level where I'm just so comfortable that it doesn't matter.
What do you think you could? What do you think you could do?
I don't know. I think it's more of a feeling for me. It's just I don't know. It's hard to say. Well, I don't know what it is. I just know I got a lot of work to do.
We all have a lot of work to do. I love watching really old comics. Go back and watch tapes of really old comics, and then watch them when they were young. Nobody's gonna know who this guy is, but there's a comic named Brother Theodore. He was kind of famous in the 50s, then had a resurgence in the 80s. Okay. Letterman was one of his biggest fans. And when you watch Brother Theodore in the 50s, Brother Theodore was Andy Kaufman before Andy Kaufman. Just crazy, out there, off the wall. And when you watched him in the 50s, it just, this just seems angry. This just seems weird for the sake of being weird.
Right.
And then you watch him in the 80s and they're like, oh.
He figured it out.
Oh, this is what you're doing. Holy shit, how did you do that? And it's night and day, and you see them do that. You know, Lord Buckley was another one. You listen to some of his early stuff, you know, when he was in his 40s, you know, good. You listen to some of the stuff he did in his 60s, unbelievable. You see early clips of Lenny Bruce, and you're there like, this is every comic I've ever seen on TV. And then you see later clips of Lenny Bruce, and you go, yeah, nobody can do that. Like, not a person can do that. That you age into your talent if you constantly work on your instrument. You know, people don't understand this. Your material isn't the instrument. How you perform, that's the instrument. Yeah. How you sound, how you speak, how you move, what you choose to inflect, where the emphasis goes, the choices you make on stage, that's the instrument.
Yeah, I would call that the rhythm. A lot of people tell jokes with no rhythm.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know, I look at it this way. All of that performance, that's the guitar. And the set you're doing, that's your song selection. That's your playlist. You know, but you still have to know your instrument before you can choose a playlist. You know, learn your instrument. That's the first order of business, man.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, would you say that stage presence?
A lot
stage
of it
presence is a part of it.
Stage presence is a part of it, but I think it's also like a lot of comics will just perform, and how they perform just evolves. They don't put any thought into it. When you look at the greats, you know, Carlin talked about how he worked on posture. Think about that. You know, there's quotes where Carlin says, "I worked on how I stand on stage." You know, Richard Pryor talking about, I had to learn how to pause like myself instead of like Bill Cosby, because when he started, he was doing Bill Cosby impressions. Yeah. You know, you listen to the greats, the ones that worked on their performance, and you get the sense that they craft their performance. Look, there are natural talents that come along once in a lifetime. Eddie Murphy never paid attention to shit he was doing on stage. He is that naturally gifted, you know, and he's a freak of nature, and I want to stuff him in a locker as well. You know what I mean? But
but he doesn't have to. You knew him when he was coming up, right? When he was starting.
No, he started before me, but I met him when he was doing all the tours. Okay. And the comic strip in New York used to, when he would go on tour, they used to put him up to run material, and nobody wanted the spot after him. And so Lucian started giving me the spot after him, because someone's going to bomb anyway. Might as well let the new guy bomb.
Right.
So, you know, he put me up after him. So a lot of time following him, you know, and trust me, wasn't good for me or for the audience. Neither one of us liked it. But you learn.
It's crazy, because I never let like the other day, yesterday actually, I performed last night. I had Zach up there, Zach Pickett. He got a standing O. Zach got a standing O. And then this lady turns and looks at me, and she goes, "This guy's sweating back here. He got to go next." And it's funny, because I was sitting there actually just loving the fact that he was destroying. Right. And I never look at that as anything that has to do with me. Like, I don't sit there and go, this person destroyed. Oh, shit. Now I got to follow that.
I do look at it.
I hate following more a person who sucks.
Yeah.
So bad that you sit there and go, I got to follow that shit now. This person just fucking totally brought all the energy out of the room, sucked it down.
Yeah.
You know, and now I got to go wake these people up again.
I tell people all the time,
crushing.
I'd rather follow a standing ovation than somebody bombing.
Yeah.
Hands down. Because you can ride somebody's energy, but you can't resurrect the trust in a crowd. You know, at that point, if they literally hate the comic before you, they are looking at you like you are the enemy until you prove otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I've had to do that on many occasions in Atlantic City where
have you
with
really?
the old management, when AC Jokes was under the old management, I had to do that a lot of times. And I actually found the way to get them to, because I would come out and I go, listen, I just got up here, right? Don't hate me yet. And I go, give me a chance to make you hate me. And then that would always get them.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't say give you a chance to make you like me. I'd be like, let me earn your hate. If you're gonna hate me, let me earn it. He earned it. The guy before me earned your hate. Let me earn your hate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And usually from that point on, it's fire.
Oh, it sounds the same as his set. It's all still it's just that.
Does he? Did he? Was he loud like that?
Sam was loud in life. Like Sam saying hello would sound like he was about to assault you. One of the funniest things, he went
Was it very flappy? I feel like he was very flappy. I feel like you heard a lot of flap, 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 flap coming from the door.
I didn't pay that close of attention to it.
I would have had to. At least once I would have had to.
I just knew if there was a lot of yelling coming from the room, don't go in. Don't go in, don't knock. But, Sam was just always larger than life. He had gone to LA.
A rock star.
Yeah. He had gone to LA, and in the interim, while he was in LA, I got married to my first wife, and we were walking down the street on 2nd Avenue one day, just talking, newlywed couple, just not a care in the world. And this lunatic comes up behind me, tackles me onto the pavement in New York City. I heard you got married. Oh, your life is over. Oh, screaming at me. And I am laughing so hard because I know it's Sam and it's old friends and we're reconnected. And my wife at the time was beating the fuck out of him, trying to get him off of me.
Yeah, get him off.
She just thought a random New Yorker just tackled me and started screaming. It was, and he was paying her no mind. And he was just, and as long as I was laughing, he was going to keep doing that. It literally, he did not get off me or stop yelling at me until I stopped laughing. That is how tunnel focused he was with his personality.
Jim, I know you got to go. You're on a time thing. We're at 6:29. So you got 1 minute before you go. Before you go, man, I just want to say, man, I am so happy that our paths have met, and that when I decided to take a class, it was you. And it's so strange when I think about how our paths came across. I was sitting there smoking a blunt, and a friend of mine sent me a flyer to your class. And I looked at the price, and I was smoking a blunt, and I said, you know what? I'm spending all this money on weed. I might as well try to invest some money in my career. And I took the chance. I didn't know anything about comedy. And you taught me all that shit, man. You made me go to open mics. That's another reason why I loved your class. You were big on the open mics. Never even knew what an open mic was, dude. You know, and I came from music, but even with music, I never hit open mics. I was kind of blessed with music, where once I started making music, I had a friend who got me into connections with Epic Records, and then it was, it was just doing music, But you taught me all those things, man. And in all honesty, I don't think I'd be the comedian I'm in today if I didn't start with you, man. And I don't say that just because he's teaching the class. I say that because the proof is in the pudding.
2 things, man. One, everything you did, you earned. You were the one that got your feet up on the stage. Hopefully, I helped you a little bit and I gave you that little impetus. But never forget, man, you did the work. And if you didn't do the work, no matter what I taught you, you'd have been one of those dumbasses that 20 years later calls me up and goes, yeah, I took your class and I haven't gone on stage in 20 years. And,
Well, for me, I went into it knowing, look, when I thought about the class, I said, no one could teach you to be funny. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure they can teach me things I don't know about this game. And that's everything you did. And I took it and I ran with it, man. I know I blew your head the other day when I told you some of the things you taught me. You were like, wow, he really remembered that shit.
He fucking listened.
It stuck with me, man. When I went in to do it, I went in serious. I was completely serious about it. I thank you for taking some time hanging with us, Jim.
Anytime. I'll come back anytime you guys want. But I also want to say, if you're not thinking of being a comic and you just want to come, you are on the show with me on August 23rd, are you not?
Yes, August 23rd. He's coming out to headline.
And come and hang.
Nice.
And you see me and Gary together, and that's always a fun time.
Yeah, it's always an honor. There's certain people that is a complete honor to be on stage with, and you are one of those people. Yeah, man, if you're interested, man, go to Atlantic City Comedy School, man, acjokes.com. We're doing the AC Jokes Comedy School. Jim Mendrinos is going to be teaching it. It's a 6-week course, and when I tell you this dude is a master of the art, man, he fucking knows comedy and the aspects of it. You told me all those little things. You told me, I prefer you didn't wear the hat, but I see that you're gonna wear the hat. He goes, so if you're gonna wear the hat, when you go up there, tip it up. You know, I didn't even know I made facial expressions until you told me. You said you got all these facial expressions. I was like, I do? You go, yeah, but it gets lost in the shadows if you don't keep your hat up.
Yeah.
You told me to look into the crowd, even if the light's in my eyes, never do this, to move the mic stand if I'm not going to be using. All those things I notice when I see other comedians.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When I see other comedians been in for 3 years, 4 years, I'm like, no one ever taught this person the game. They're just funny, but no one ever taught them the game and how to move and how to do things. You know,
and with the class we're doing, isn't the like after the 6th class, there's a show that night. So there's comedy. Yeah.
So so the graduation is, that's right. You do the 6-week course, and the graduation is you get to perform with your class in a graduation show. And do you headline that show as well, Jim? Do you perform
I'm
on
there,
that show?
so I might as well.
Yeah. I remember you did that with us. That's where I met Chablis. Chablis Quarterman. You brought her on because you always bring a comedian on. That
I was bringing someone on
a little coming up, and she was a funny girl, man.
She is.
Yeah,
She's living in Vegas.
Yeah, I know.
I lost you to Atlantic City and her to Vegas.
Yeah.
Apparently, I have a lot of former students with gambling problems.
Not me, man. I don't really gamble, even though I will on a small tip jar.
Okay.
If I get like $10 in the tip jar, I'm like, let's see if we can turn it into 20. And then I'll throw it in there. If I make 15, I'm like, I'm out. I got $5 extra. I'm out. Now I can get me something else.
It's so funny because John G, who came down with me to teach to do the workshop this week, and he did a guest spot on your show too. Very kind. Thank you. When I was leaving, he's there like, they're like, I'm going to use the restroom before I go. And he goes, okay. Then he disappears for 5 minutes. And I'm there like, this fucker is gambling. This fucker is on the floor somewhere. And then he comes running out like 5 minutes later. I went, how much you lose? He goes, $10. You know.
What did Timur say before Jim goes? There was a comment. Timur says, thanks for your time, Jim. Keep bringing the laughs. Much love.
Oh, thank you so much. And
hope to see you on with G again.
Yeah, and everybody, these podcasts are great, but go see a live show. Go see Gary if you're in Atlantic City. If you're up in New York City, come see me, but go out and see a live show.
Yeah, man, and if you're ever around at the midnight, dude, I do the midnight show. Our stage is always open to you, man.
So I'm doing you know what? I'm doing the early show at the Greenwich Village Comedy Club. So I'll just stay late this Monday and go do it on the 1st.
I'm not there this Monday.
That's the one Monday you're not there?
No, you know, what's fucked up is Adam, who I run the show with, he tells the booker I'm not going to be here. The booker bumps me off my own show.
What?
Now I could easily have made a phone call and be like, you do realize I'm the one who runs this show. But then I also realized that's $100 saved in my pocket and a day off, which I never really get on a Monday.
Then take the day off, man. Enjoy your day off.
Monday I won't be there. But kill it over at Greenwich, a club who never booked me.
Well, let's see if we can change that. All right.
I love you, dog, and I appreciate you spending some time with us, man. Thank you so much.
Anytime. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
See you soon, brother.
See ya. Thanks.
All right. You can click the leave studio button now.
There you go. Yeah, man, that was dope, man. It means a lot to me to have him on the show, man.
He was great.
The dude knows his shit. He's been in the game for a long time, man. He's like one of them coaches that they just know the game. You know, they know the game. And it's crazy because I'm watching some of the kids, they're not kids, they're all freaking adults. Some of them are my age that came out to check out the stuff. And I feel like so much stuff. You know, you really got to ask yourself, what are you in this game for, man?
Why are you doing it?
Why are you doing it?
What do you mean? Was it like questions that they were asking or what?
Well, first of all, not asking questions to me is a problem. You're not asking any questions. You want to be a comedian, you're not asking any questions. But also it was just like, you know, he says, anyone got questions? And Brian's like, well, I've been playing in Atlantic City. How do I get into the casinos in Vegas?
Bro, what kind of question? What kind of question?
It starts by asking different questions. You know, how about becoming good enough to be in those casinos? Yeah. You know, oh yeah, Timo, this dude has for days, man, just sitting there and talking with him, man. This brother just has stories. It's like Eleanor. Yeah. It's like hanging out with Eleanor Kerrigan, man. She just has stories for days. He has stories for days. He knows all these comedians, came up with all these comedians. And like I said, if you ever read the book about the comic strip, there was a book that came out called The Comic Strip about the Comic Strip Comedy Club. He's not interviewed in it, but he's mentioned more in that book than any of the other comedians, man. Really? He's going back to him about how like he used to always help punch up their jokes, what a great writer he is, man. And he, you know, his record speaks for itself. I actually just looked him up on the IB thing, and he's produced and written for a lot of shows. Yo. So he's the real deal, man.
Yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
Much love to my brother, Jim.
Yeah, those old Kinnison stories.
That's crazy. Kinnison used to sleep on his couch, dog.
Yeah, dude.
That's crazy. I didn't know Jim was doing drugs like that, man. I'm gonna have to find out what drugs he still does. I haven't gotten high with him at all, man. I want to see if he still smokes weed. At least next time I'm there, I'm gonna be like, "What's up, dog?"
Yeah, yeah. That's how you can tell. You can just hold it and then you just pass it. And if they grab it, you know what the deal is.
Let's see what happens, man. We'll see what happens, man. But fucking man, I'm glad he stopped by, man. He's like, "Yo, I can only stay an hour. Is that cool?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, stay an hour, man. We don't give a shit."
Yeah.
You know,
no problem.
So how about you, man? How was your day today, Brian?
Oh, dude, it was one of those days, bro. You know what happened to me today? I have to wake up for the man, you know, and I've been using a wireless charger because my phone charger, the thing in the phone's broken, and it didn't charge, and I woke up late. Don't you hate that?
You know what I hate?
That, dude.
You know what I hate? I hate that I got home at like almost 6 a.m. No, actually, I got home like a little bit.
I love how you ask me how my day was.
You said no. Yeah, because you said, "Don't you hate that?" So I'm responding to you saying, "Don't you hate that your phone?" That happened to me a couple of times. I went to plug it into the wall and it fell off the wall.
It happens, yeah.
And then it turns off. That sucks, but not as much as me fucking getting home at 5 in the fucking morning. I fall asleep around 6 in the fucking morning, right? And then they start working at like 7 in the morning. They start working in the building. I mean, I'm like, who starts doing that at 7 in the fucking morning, dude? I lost it so bad. I jumped out of bed. I was running through the building looking for them. I was like this, trying to figure out where it was coming from, because it was coming from the whole fucking building. Then I'm out in the parking lot and it's loud. I'm like, "I got you, motherfucker. I got you." And I'm looking and I can't find nobody, dog. So I come back in. I take the elevator to the next floor and I see a bunch of workers who aren't working, mind you. They're just sitting there. And I go, "Who the fuck is doing that?" None of them speak English. They understood nothing I said. They just looked at me yelling like a madman, confused. Fucking got no sleep last night, man. That's horrible. You got more sleep than you needed. What time you got to get up? 5? Is that the time you get up?
Nah. Like 5:36, somewhere between that.
Between 5:30 and 6 or 5:36?
5:36.
That's an odd number. Like, why?
It's an even number, actually.
That's true, but it's odd to get up on an even. Unless it's a whole.
So do you only like to wake up on 0s or 5s?
Yeah.
How about that? No, I usually set it for an off time. I'll do 5:34, 5:17.
Weird. That's weird.
Yeah. 5:09.
You just might be a psychotic.
You think that's what did it? It was that? I have a friend of mine who can't on the TV. It has to be on an even number volume. It can't be on like 24. Well, it can be on 24, 26, not number 25 on the volume knob.
I'm like that with my volume on my radio.
Really?
It has to be even numbers.
Can you tell too? He says he can tell.
I can tell.
Yeah, he says he can tell. What is that? I can tell. What is that? That's a little psychotic, is it not?
This one goes to 11. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, I guess, Brian, we're both psychotic because you do the same shit as me. All right. I have to set multiple alarms too.
That's psychotic.
That I think is a younger generation thing. Like anybody who's probably 35, maybe 40 or older, like you can wake up on one alarm, you know,
I can wake up without an alarm.
You just set your clock to it?
I set, like Kramer, I set my mental clock to it. And I prefer odd numbers on my radio.
Ooh.
Always like to leave the decibels on 3s or 5s. Wow. Themo says Brian needs sleep. Producer yawning during the interview. I know you saw that, right?
I'm very, very tired. Yeah.
You saw that. How many hours of sleep did you get last night that you woke up late?
I was up till like midnight or something. So I only got like 6, 7.
Dude, I'm on 2.5 hours right now and not even straight. It was 20 minutes here, 30 there, another 20 minutes.
I was outside, the heat, Look at this tan. Look at this farmer's tan I got going on. Can you see it? See the difference?
That sun's out there fucking microwaving people, yo. It's turning everyone Puerto Rican.
No, that's what you. That's what you want, dude. You want.
No, it's hotter than normal, dude. It's hotter than normal. Do you use sunscreen?
No.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
No,
that sunscreen
never,
gives skin cancer.
Dude. Yeah,
it causes skin cancer, dude.
Yeah. I mean, dude, think about it, right? Like, look at it, put it, touch it, just touch it. What is it? It's just like grease. It's like straight grease, bro.
Yeah, I know, but you don't like putting suntan on your lady?
Nah, not really. I think that's a weird.
Yeah, you don't like putting suntan on your lady's back?
It's not like a sexual oil, I don't want to like rub and glide in the.
Well, what I don't like about it is then like a little bit of sand flies in the air and then it's all rough. It's like
yeah. I like that part. You get a little scrapey in the skin. Get those skin cells off.
Oh, what do they call that, man?
Like a pumice stone.
That's not the word I was thinking.
Exfoliation.
Exfoliation. You like to exfoliate.
Mm-hmm.
You like to exfoliate. Raymond says, Gary, you need some kind of sound block in your apartment. It's funny because, global warming my ass. They're just fucking with it. By global warming, you mean they're fucking with the weather? That's what it is. Brian, you don't massage your lady?
No, I do.
Does it always end up in sex? Do you ever give just a massage? Have you ever been able to just give a massage? Or you start the massage and then, you start hitting the butt. And then the next thing you know, you're like, it's no longer about her. Now it's about you.
It's hard. I gotta say, it's hard. Not very many.
Well, I would think it is if you're having sex.
Yeah.
Unless you're there throwing the limpy to your lady. Don't be throwing the limpy at her, son.
How can you do that to you? You can't do that, dude.
You could throw a limpy around.
No.
This spoken like a man that wasn't determined on a coke binge. When you're determined on a coke binge,
I mean, you can, but not your wife.
Shoehorn helps. No, I mean, you're lucky having sex with your wife.
A shoehorn, dog. A shoehorn, dude. We should invent that. We should invent the dick horn, the limp horn. No, what would you call it?
The shoehorn, man.
The shoehorn. Oh my God, I can just see it right now. You have the shoehorn. It's like
you lay it in the curve.
Yeah,
you flop them in the curve like a hot dog. You hot dog it.
Have you ever seen the really long ones they have for the old guys? That's for a certain kind of man.
Those are the ones so you can stand up. Yeah. I see. Now I'm saying the shoehorn is long so you can stand up without having to bend over to put your shoe in. I don't use shoehorns, man. I'm that rub the back of my heel until it pops in kind of dude.
Yeah, well, dude, the shoehorn, was it ever really? When was it necessary, bro? What
are you talking about? You never. I mean, when they wore a lot of shoes.
I know, yeah, a long time ago, dude.
You never go to put on a suit and your shoe has it's very thin. The shoe be very
I don't
thin.
wear those kind
of
shoes.
And then you can't get it in there, and then you're trying to get your finger in there.
They don't really make shoes like that poorly anymore.
They don't?
I guess that well. Back then, they made shoes a lot better. Yeah, when people would get shoes fixed. Exactly. Yeah, people get used to get their shoes repaired. My dad still has some loafers, some nice leather loafers that he's had for 40 years. Get them cleaned, scuffed, resoled.
on Broadway in Queens. I don't know if it's still there, but I think it's still there. There's a fucking shoe repair place. I think it's still there.
Dude,
I keep thinking to myself is, what are they smuggling through that store that shit is still around?
It was there until you went in and you were like, Ma, Pa, you got all these cables in everywhere.
You got to get that checked.
You got to get that checked.
Nah, if I'm correct, it's still there. I think it's still next to the barbershop.
Dude, my dad
makes me wonder what the fuck is going on in that place.
Are there a lot of old Puerto Rican ladies in the neighborhood getting their shoes changed?
I don't know, dude. I don't know anyone who goes and gets their shoes fixed.
Yeah.
I guess that's a woman thing, maybe.
No, dude. I mean, it's really like, I guess, yeah, maybe, but like older men, like my dad gets his shoes done.
Repaired? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if he can anymore. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a shoe place in Astoria, Queens that's still open.
The leather would form to your foot. What do you mean? The leather of the shoe?
The leather of the shoe. Yeah, I guess the leather of the shoe.
He's got the things in there.
Those little fake feet.
Yeah, the wood blocks. And his nice shoes, and then it has like this really, dude, it's like a really like aggressive spring on it.
What do you mean
crazy? Aggressive? Well, just like a spring that was made in like.
It hurts when you sit on it.
It's really when you pull it out that you have the trouble with. You kind of have to like bend and pull, you know.
That's
where they got the name for Oingo Boingo.
Oingo Boingo, man.
Nah, but it's like, dude,
that's one of those bands. You know, we got into beef with who was it? Duran Duran.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, we got into beef with Duran Duran when I was on the road.
What beef?
Nothing to talk about. They showed up to a club that we had the VIP to, and they wanted the VIP.
Oh, so they gave you seniority status.
Well, no, they told us we had to leave because, you know, fucking Duran Duran is here and they want the VIP section. So we were a new band. We were just releasing our first album. We weren't even known really. You know, it's just no one was using it. So they let us go in there. We were on tour around there. So when they told us to leave, Spank, of course, was like, who the fuck is Duran Duran? Yo, fuck them. We're not going nowhere. Fuck Duran Duran, yo. They ain't even big anymore. And I'm like, dude, the Duran Duran, man. They've earned their right to sit back here, dog. Can we not get into this? You know, and then one thing led to another. They threw me and fucking Spank out, I think with somebody else. Then I wound up jumping in that van that I
well, yeah,
might or might not have ran some people over in Washington with.
Washington? It was Washington?
I mean, no, excuse
Buffalo,
me.
Right? Wasn't it Buffalo? Yeah, Buffalo. You ever been back to Buffalo? I don't think so. Yeah, no, I think that was the last time you were in Buffalo, wasn't it?
No, actually, it was Washington, D.C.
Oh, really?
Buffalo is when I hit the turkey. I hit the turkey in Buffalo. The wild turkey came through the windshield. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. It was actually Albany.
Albany.
That's where it was. Isn't that in Washington? Albany. Isn't that in Washington?
Albany's
isn't
in
it
New
the
York.
capital?
Albany's the capital in New York.
Oh, it's the capital of New York.
And Buffalo is in New York. And so is Albany. So
I think it was Albany.
Rochester, Schenectady.
No, I think it was Albany because it was. I remember thinking this is the capital.
Cooperstown.
I went there to get pizza. The pizza looked like it was there for like 30 years. Horrible. Nobody walking the streets. Fucking tumbleweeds.
Yeah, empty. All those towns are like that.
Yeah, and they made us go up, and nobody was even at the club, and they made us perform. And then that's how the whole fight started there with that fight. But anyway,
but that's what I'm saying. See, that's Buffalo. Buffalo's the fight, right?
Yeah,
that was Buffalo. Maybe not.
Confused now. I think I'm pretty sure it was Albany, but I'm a little confused. I mean, who knows?
Here's the thing. Listen. And I just tell everybody listening to Rated G, Gary's stories are as true, as accurately he can remember them being depicted, but with even maybe more truth in it than what he remembers.
I mean, people who hear my stories and then see shit, they're like, that's exactly how it went down.
But I think there's a scale. You know, you're talking about.
I mean,
90s,
I might not
90s,
I might
90s.
not remember, but I don't remember places that I'm at. I remember incidences. I just don't remember exactly where they took place. If that makes sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it would make sense to leave out a key part of the story.
Well, if I'm correct, it was Albany, but I could be wrong. I'd have to ask Spank. But
like,
anyway, me and Spank got thrown out, and I jumped in that van, and I told the bouncer, "Listen, you're either gonna let us back in, or I'm gonna take that van and I'm gonna drive it right through the front of this fucking place right now." And he was like, "You're not gonna do it." And I said, "All right." Got in the van, came around the front, pulled up right to the front, sideways on the street, and then the brother gave in and said, "Listen, we'll let you back in as long as you don't start no shit with Duran Duran." His paper was like, "Fuck Duran Duran, man. I just want to go into the club, man. Had a bitch inside I was talking to." Spanks and that. I love him.
Dude, but we got to get him back on, dude. We're due for another. I feel like, you know, honestly, we're due for another Spank episode. We're due for another Mo episode. Simeon.
We need to get Mo back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tristan. You got to bring Tristan
would be
back.
Fun.
Jason. We've had some good. Jason is fucking great to have on. I'll never forget that time he said, "And the Jews." We just started dying. We just started dying, yo.
Oh,
dude, you look tired. I feel like I'm keeping you up, man.
I gotta go, dude.
We've had fun. It was a fun episode.
It's a fun episode. I need to I need to get dinner. I need to get to sleep early tonight.
Yeah, man. I need to get to a show because my day's just beginning.
Ah, yes. Where are you at tonight?
Where am I at tonight? Tonight I am over at Resorts, man, with Buddha, Ray, and Zach will probably stop in. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't jump on. You know, Raymond says, "I want to see another episode with Jason Scoop for sure." Yeah, I know. Jason's a fucking man. Yeah, man. I want to get Eleanor back on, man. Eleanor's a fun guest to have too, as well.
Eleanor.
Yeah, man. We got shit happening, man. Come check us out. Go to acjokes.com, man. If you're coming out to Atlantic City, plan to check out some comedy, man, because nothing is better than laughter. Well, sex. But, you know, sex only lasts for so long. The laughter lasts a lot longer. You know, so go to acjokes.com, see what we're doing, and we're doing something great, man. If you want to follow me, go to @GaryG Garcia. If you want to follow Brian, follow Brian, the video guy. And also, if you want to support without, you know, putting some change on those comments, go to briantlacata.com/shop. Pick yourself up some of the, you know, drip. Big up to Raymond, right, Raymond?
Yeah, you got stickers, right? Right, Raymond?
Yeah. No, he picked up a mug.
No, I think that was Rich who picked up a mug. I think Raymond got some stickers.
Raymond, would you correct this guy? Because I could have sworn you sent me and I reposted it.
Oh, yeah, did he?
I reposted it. I think he got a mug. What'd he say? I plan on swinging by sometime in July.
Hopefully I can get y'all to come out and try Big Snow for a day while I'm down there and get some summer snowboarding. Sounds fun.
Raymond was playing fucking
I got the mug and the stickers.
Game of Thrones with the mug, man.
Call of Duty.
Let's
go.
Yeah, baby. Time to separate the weak from the obsolete. Hard to creep. Raymond, you're the man. And in case anyone was wondering, Matt Bridgestone is a hack. Okay? So if you're working with him, just know, I never tell nobody not to work with somebody, but understand you're working with a hack. All right? He's a little bitch ass hack. All right? So if anybody's wondering what I think of Matt Bridgestone, he's a hack. Okay? And I'm waiting for a day where all the phones go away for one day. Just like everything gets shut down again, where nothing works and you can't record or post anything. And then I'll visit him and rip his face off his neck. Because he's a hack.
That would be a great clip, dude.
I want to challenge him to a backyard brawl.
Okay.
I want to challenge Matt Bridgestone to a backyard brawl, no gloves, just straight up anything goes. I'll even let that bitch bite. He could bite, he could scratch, because I'm pretty sure if I don't let him bite and scratch, I take all his fucking moves out the window. But I would love to challenge him to a backyard brawl where I spin his head around in different directions. Brian, surprise G with a special guest. Bring him on. He wouldn't come on.
He wouldn't
come on.
Yeah.
It's too much of a little bitch. Because I would have him on. Convince me to do some indoor snowboarding. Are you insane? Indoor means there's walls you can crash into. It's bad enough you out there dodging trees.
No, they make it safe. There's nets.
All right, maybe I will. I could snowboard. I know I could do it. I mean, I used to skateboard. It can't be that much different. I got great balance. You know, I roller skate. I fucking skateboard. I said roller skate. That's right, because I don't like inline. I don't like the blades. I like roller skates.
You do it with the 4?
4, of course. I like the 4.
Gay.
You could say that. It doesn't offend me at all. Is that supposed to offend me? Because I get busy, dude. Roll, bounce. I get busy on my shit. I skate with reckless abandonment. I'm fun to go to a roller rink with. I am fun to go to a roller rink with. Haven't been to one in years, but
because they don't exist anywhere anymore.
Yes, they do. What are you talking about? They got one
There's
right
one
now.
right on
Showboat. Showboat got one.
Oh yeah, that's gonna stay. It'll stay open for a long time, I'm sure.
I don't know, but it's there. Raymond says it's not as bad as you think. Nah, I could probably do snowboarding. Yeah. You know, I don't like snow. It's cold. You know, I don't like the cold.
Yeah,
that's why I always pay my rent. Because I don't want to be out in the cold. And drugs are better indoors. Remember that, all you young folks coming up on drugs now. Always remember, drugs are better indoors. So keep paying that rent. Listen, man, I love you guys for hanging out. Brian, go get some rest. Go get some food, man.
I love it, bro. Have a great show tonight.
Jim Mendrinos for being on the show, man.
Shout out to Jim.
And if you guys are up early in the morning, catch me every Monday on the JoJo and Scotty show on 100.7 WZXL. Love you guys. Peace, man.